On the surface, he was just an ordinary employee of the company, but in fact, he was the only son of the chairman and the heir apparent to the world's largest airline. In order to help his son take over the company smoothly, Chairman Duncan assigned him a task that would serve as a reasonable way to promote him. You're going to take on an executive role in this firm. You have to demonstrate that you can do what's. Hearing this, William confidently accepted the task. But what he didn't expect was that this seemingly simple business trip would lead him to a sweet and beautiful romance in Australia. You're Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Well, William. Dana. After meeting with his contact, William carried his luggage to an old, worn-out pickup truck. He never imagined that the branch office on this island was in such poor condition. According to reports and data from headquarters, this airline branch had been operating at a loss for years. Duncan's task for him was to personally assess the situation. If confirmed, he was to shut down and liquidate the branch immediately. Seeing William enjoying the scenic views along the way, Dana cautiously asked him a question. Kind of a long flight to make a quick parking. Anything else to be worried about? No, sir. Just wanted to see how you do things around here. To make things easier later, William didn't reveal the true purpose of his visit. Soon, they arrived at the island's only airport, and to William's surprise, there were only 3 employees there, including Dana, and their office was inside an airplane hangar. Immediately, a question popped into his mind. An old pickup truck, only 3 employees, a cluttered office. How could such a low-cost operation be unprofitable for so many years? Jeff nervously tried to explain, but accidentally knocked over a stack of documents on the table. After an awkward silence, William continued asking questions. But before Jeff could get to the point, Nikki suddenly interrupted with a question that seemed completely baffling to William. Do you run a business with your wife? No, I'm not married, actually. Girlfriend. No, girlfriend's boyfriend? No, I'm single. Hearing his answer, Nikki gave Dana a mischievous wink. Dana had grown up on the island and had hardly seen the outside world. In Nikki and Jeff's eyes, she was meant for the wider world, not to be trapped on this island forever. But the only thing that could truly make Dana leave willingly would be a deep, unforgettable love. That's why Nikki asked those questions. She wanted to set up William and Dana. Completely unaware that he was being set up, William continued asking Jeff about the branch's operations. Seeing her father struggling to answer, Dana bluntly explained the reason for their losses. Remote air support is the soul of Fullerton Airways. They've always done it, and they always will. Their main income should have come from offering sightseeing tours to tourists, but since Dana took over the company a few years ago, aerial rescue missions had increased significantly, and they provided these rescue services for free, which was the main reason for the company's current financial troubles. Well, there's more to life than profits, you know. Yes, Clyde. Alas, it's rather a priority. What's the point of this inspection anyway? You fly halfway across the world just to insult us? Seeing that his daughter might offend their guest, Jeff quickly intervened and told her to take William to see the planes. But the tense atmosphere didn't disappear just because they stepped outside. Why do we go up? And this? Yeah, just sturdy as a rock. Go on. To William, Dana's suggestion sounded like a challenge, and he nervously took the co-pilot's seat. As the propellers spun, the plane began taxiing down the runway. Determined not to lose face in front of Dana, he gripped his hands tightly, suppressing his fear. Although he managed not to scream, he still couldn't escape Dana's teasing and disdain. Can you promise this guy that, can you? I was in a hot air balloon once. If something did go wrong, did have parachutes in the back? And they won. It's not funny. At this point, William stopped pretending, and his tone softened noticeably. Seeing how scared he was, Dana couldn't help but find it amusing, and her words became less sharp. As the plane soared through the clear blue sky, Dana pointed out something below. When William looked down, he saw a pod of dolphins swimming beneath them. It was a sight he had never seen before. The beauty of nature seemed to have a magical pull, captivating him completely. The plane had been flying for 2 hours, yet Dana showed no sign of returning. Instead, she took William to Parks Bay, where an isolated community lived. Through Dana's introduction, William learned that their clothes and supplies were mostly donated by her airline. Coincidentally, they had some items to deliver that day. Curious about their way of life, William stepped off the plane. risking his expensive suit getting soaked by seawater. After introducing himself, his attention was drawn to a group of children playing soccer. Had it been earlier in the trip, William would never have considered joining them. But the beautiful scenery along the way gradually softened his heart. Seeing this, Dana's impression of William began to change as well. Since her purpose today was only to deliver supplies, she didn't plan to stay long. Calling out to the still reluctant William, they began their journey back. In just a few short hours, William had seen many things he had never encountered in the city, and these experiences made him start to question which was the true face of the world, the luxury of the city, or the freedom and ease of life here. With such philosophical thoughts, by the time they arrived at the hotel where William would be staying, it was already getting dark. Since it was after business hours, some of the documents and data he needed would have to wait until the next day. In his room, his father called to ask about his progress. William, feeling a bit embarrassed, admitted that there were still some things he hadn't figured out. "Shut that place down. Get yourself home." After receiving his father's orders, William arrived at the hangar early the next morning. But when he asked to see the company's financial records, Jeff said he still had some reports to finish. At that moment, Dana appeared, wondering where Nikki was. They had planned to make a delivery together today. Hearing this, Jeff quickly came up with a lie, saying Nikki had taken the day off and suggested that William could temporarily take her place to help. Him? Me? Well, why not? Dana needs help, and in the meantime, I can get these reports ready for you. Seems a good solution for everybody. What do you say? Good. After their interaction the previous afternoon, the tension between them had eased considerably. After they left in the plane, Nikki came out of the restroom. Flying 500 meters above the ocean, William and Dana chatted idly to pass the time. Is life in the big city all about dedicating yourself to work? How do the towering buildings compare to the scenery here? William answered Dana's questions one by one, sharing his thoughts. But as they neared their destination, the plane suddenly tilted, and the alarm sounded unexpectedly. From the malfunction indicator, Dana suspected there was a problem with the air valve. Seeing the rocks below, William began to say his last words. Compared to his panic, Dana remained calm, calculating the angle and possibilities for landing. Under her control, the plane touched down on the water, and as it gradually came to a stop, the danger was finally averted. After such an experience, their relationship took a big step forward. When faced again with another message from his father urging him, William found himself torn. He struggled with two things. First was Dana, as their business, though not profitable, was truly meaningful. Second was that he seemed to have developed feelings for this brave and sincere girl. Fortunately, there were still 5 days left before his father's deadline, so William decided not to rush his decision and would wait for the right time to explain his true purpose. That evening, after narrowly escaping an air crash, William and Dana took a walk at the airport. Under a starry sky, influenced by the peaceful atmosphere, they naturally began to share their lives, childhood memories, funny stories from school, and even their past relationships. Such sincere conversations between hearts undoubtedly brought them closer. In the following days, they were almost inseparable. They often went on rescue missions together and spent many evenings talking at the airport. In just a few days, they created memories that neither would ever forget. Immersed in this fulfilling happiness, William gradually forgot about his father's task. As the 7th day approached, Duncan finally sensed something was wrong. No longer trusting William's text saying, "Everything is going well," he called directly. Through his work over these days, William deeply understood the importance of the rescue missions. He suggested to his father that the branch should be kept and he would find ways to expand revenue so it wouldn't continue losing money. But Duncan refused. He was never interested in the branch's minor profits. He wanted to add value to William's resume. Nikki overheard the conversation. "Never let it become personal, it just makes it all the more difficult." "Well, I suppose now's your opportunity to learn that lesson." "Dad, please don't shut down Phyllis Airways. Please don't do this." "William, I do your job." Realizing that his son was abandoning the mission for personal feelings, Duncan issued an ultimatum. While William was struggling with what choice to make, Dana had already learned the truth from Nikki. Before William could explain, an emergency alarm suddenly sounded. Dana suddenly remembered the weather forecast from a few days ago, warning of an unprecedented storm approaching. Thinking of this, She dialed her father's number. Her worst fears came true. No one answered. Meanwhile, Jeff was helping people outside return to the building for shelter. During this, a flying barricade hit him, knocking him out. With no word from her father, Dana rushed outside in her raincoat without a second thought. Seeing all this, William was determined to help. He grabbed a flashlight and followed. After searching for dozens of minutes, Dana was filled with fear and despair. Behind a small warehouse, Jeff had regained consciousness, but was too cold and weak to stand. Leaning helplessly against the wall, he called out desperately. Just as he was about to give up and close his eyes, a beam of light appeared in his sight. It was William. On the way back, they happened to run into Dana. They brought Jeff to a room and pushed a shelf against the door to keep it from giving way. Nikki once again explained the real purpose of William's visit. Hearing this, Jeff nearly fainted from anger. Seeing this scene, William looked at Dana and sincerely confessed that, although he had come here with a purpose at first, everything had changed after experiencing life here. He admired Dana and her team's dedication to doing meaningful work instead of chasing profit. On a sleepless night, he had even cursed himself for being weak and selfish. Now he only wanted to protect the airport from being shut down. With Nikki vouching for him after a brief moment of anger, Jeff and Dana ultimately chose to forgive him. Soon, the next morning arrived. The terrifying storm had passed. When they stepped out of the hangar, what greeted them was a scene of devastation. Even though they saw such destruction, their first thought wasn't about the cost of repairs, but rather to get on the radio and contact those who might be in trouble because of the disaster. After roughly gathering information, they didn't hesitate for a second. They grabbed relief supplies and rushed to the hardest-hit areas. Watching the people's faces change from despair to joy at the sight of food and medicine, William was deeply moved and became even more determined to save the airport. For the next 3 days, Duncan did not call again. William devoted himself entirely to rescue and disaster relief. When he noticed his phone hadn't received a message from his father, a thought came to him. Had his father silently agreed, allowing him to stay and help the airport return to profitability? At first, everyone thought so too. But then Jeff suddenly received news.
Well, they've informed me that we're shut down. Effective immediately.
While comforting her father, Dana cast a questioning look at William. Without saying a word, William took out his phone and called his father.
Dad, don't sell Philippine Airways. All right, please, don't do this. Are you serious? Scrapping that two-bit airline from our books is about the only bright side of this debacle.
As the call disconnected in his ear, the shutdown of Foster Airlines officially began. Holding back tears, Dana turned and walked away. William wanted to chase after her to offer comfort, but was stopped. Jeff thanked William for everything he had done and advised him, "It's time for you to leave." Then he went to find his heartbroken daughter. Dana hadn't left out of anger over William's failure to save the airport. Quite the opposite, she was truly grateful for everything he had done. She left because she didn't want William to see her, a girl who had always been strong and brave, crying. The airport's air rescue project had been her late mother's idea. Dana had dedicated her life to following in her mother's footsteps. Now that the airport couldn't be saved, her beliefs and spirit were crushed as well. In William's mind, if it weren't for his father being eager to boost his career, the company wouldn't have shut the branch so easily, even if it was losing money. So he blamed himself entirely. Since staying could no longer change anything, he left. But shortly after he left, while Dana, her father, and Nikki were packing up and waiting for the lawyers to arrive, something Nikki said by accident suddenly gave Dana an idea.
If my dad had a private equity firm, tell you what, there'd be no more duct tape engineering and it'd all be world-class, baby, just state-of-the-art.
Wait, what'd you say?
State-of-the-art?
Suddenly, Dana realized there might still be a way to save the situation by modernizing, expanding the business, and developing new sources of revenue. After preparing her proposal, she flew to London herself. Ignoring the staff trying to stop her, she barged into a conference room where a meeting was being held. After a brief greeting with William, Dana apologized to everyone for her intrusion and introduced herself. But before she could finish, Duncan interrupted her and ordered security to remove her. In the end, it was only thanks to William's persuasion that Dana was given 5 minutes to speak. When Duncan heard that Dana not only refused to shut down the unprofitable airline, but even wanted him to invest in expanding it, he finally lost his temper.
Sir, I'm familiar with your situation. Do you honestly expect us to throw more money into this disaster? There's no indication you'll be able to manage something like this.
What if they had a more experienced financial officer? I'm resigning. Effective immediately. I'm gonna go and work for Fullerton Airways if they'll have me. But if you give me a chance to get this business on their feet, I will show you that they do have legs. He couldn't understand why his son, who had once been so eager to rise in the company, was now willing to risk his career. I'm just asking you to trust me. Trust us. You really think you can do this? We can. Feeling the determination in Dana's voice and seeing the hopeful look in his son's eyes, Duncan finally relented. He called in the legal team to discuss the details and agreed to this highly risky, seemingly absurd project to expand the airport. With no more barriers between them, and with William now serving as the company's financial officer, the airport's business gradually grew. Duncan's risky decision proved worthwhile, and the movie ends here.